All right, we are back, and we are here to do some movie reviews. We're going to hit a few movies, hopefully, if we have time. And, yeah, so we talked it over. We've watched a lot of movies. We've got about 7 or 8 movies we still need to review for you guys. But this one right here is a classic from 1990, right?
89, I think.
No,
it's 90. It was after Batman.
After Batman.
Yeah,
Batman
after
89.
Batman.
And this.
Yeah.
Which, that's going to come up a lot in this review. We're going to talk about it a lot. And this is the 1990 film, directed by Warren Beatty and starring Warren Beatty. Dick Tracy, based on the comic strip of the same name, of course. And, man, just opening thoughts on this one. This is style.
Childhood gold.
I
love this.
This is so much style.
Oh.
It's just, they said, let's take the comic strip and let's make it into a movie, and man, did they do it.
Yeah.
They took that comic strip and they did exactly what you saw in that comic strip into this movie. It's colorful. It looks like a comic strip half the time. The city is a matte painting for the most part in the movie.
It's Sin City before.
Yeah.
Sin City.
The feeling, and we talked about that. Like, why don't they put a black and white version of this?
They should come out with this black and white.
It would
just do the highlights like Sin City, or not even at all.
Yeah, it would. It would make so much sense to do this in black and white. But the color is kind of part of the charm of this movie too, though. So taking that out, maybe it's not.
Yeah, the bright, the reds, the greens,
the matte paintings,
yellows,
everything.
the matte paintings.
Yeah,
it's so much fun to watch.
I mean, you also, Batman '89 was very similar too. It had a lot of matte paintings and things like that, and like the color was much more muted in Batman '89.
Right.
But like these movies, it's very much living on Batman '89 in this movie, and
played off of it,
including Danny Elfman's score. And we're going to talk a lot about that in this review, because I'll just run through kind of a plot description of the movie. We can talk about it after that. This isn't going to be a very long review. We don't want to spend a lot of time on it, because you know what? The best way to experience Dick Tracy is not to talk to us, or listen to us, that is. You can talk to us if you want to. We got chat going on in YouTube and Twitch right now. But living this movie is the way to go.
Yeah.
So Dick Tracy follows, of course, your titular character of Dick Tracy, played by Warren Beatty, who also directed the film. And he's, of course, wearing his famous yellow jacket and yellow fedora. And the movie opens up with Charlie Korsmo, his character, Kid. He kind of wanders into a warehouse where there's a number of these very stylized comic book looking gangsters playing poker.
Yep.
And so he's in there.
Including John C. Reilly.
Including a guy that looks like John C. Reilly for sure.
Yeah.
And
it looks like his character from, Sin City a little bit. Not really. Never mind. It just looks like John C. Reilly.
Well, later you get this guy that beats up on the kid that looks a lot like Marv from Mickey Rourke's character from Sin City. I mean, that guy very much looks like him.
Yeah.
But in this warehouse, and he's watching these guys play poker, and all of a sudden busts in. A car busts through the front of the warehouse and shoots all the guys, and it's Flat Top, one of Big Boy's guys, who's played by William Forsythe. Fantastic actor, William Forsythe. Just ultimate bad guy, in my opinion. He's played a couple good guys, I guess. But Forsythe is like... The guy just looks like an evil person.
Yeah, I mean, he's in my mind still today as Capone.
Yeah.
You know, he played, in The Untouchables, he was Capone. He was great in that.
Well, no, Capone was De Niro in The Untouchables.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the TV show.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. In the new Untouchables TV show.
He was, watching that TV show.
Gotcha, the TV show.
He was great. I'm sorry, TV show, not movie.
I'm confused.
So, I think that came out after this.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was
that would have been like...
Early...
Probably like a year or two after this.
Okay. Early 90s, yeah.
It didn't do very much.
And, I love that show, and I was like, man, this guy's great as Capone.
Robert Stack was in the original Untouchables show back in the 60s. But, so, Kid witnesses this murder and runs away, and Dick Tracy ends up discovering him, and in the I guess he's still in the warehouse, ultimately. I think Dick Tracy gets him there. And you also meet, Dick Tracy's girlfriend, Tess Trueheart. What a comic book name that is. And she's played by a recognizable actress. I cannot remember her name right now.
Can we just talk about the cast?
Oh, the cast in this is
amazing.
Amazing. You got Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, William Forsythe, Madonna, Edo Ross plays Itchy. God, who else? Who am I missing? The guy who plays Bug Bailey's a recognizable actor. He's like the he's the guy from Tango and Cash that supplies them with their.
Sorry, I'm not good with names.
He's in Scrooged. he's a recognizable actor. I'm trying to think of the other people who are in this. There's so many people in this, just ridiculously number of people.
Forsythe, Madonna, Pacino.
Paul Sorvino. Paul Sorvino plays the main mob boss that Big Boy takes out here in a second when we're watching it.
The guy from Back to the Future, the principal. He's in
it. Yeah, that's right. Mills Lane.
Yeah.
I call him
Mills Lane is in it. Yeah.
No, but no. Actually, Tracy finds Kid when he's running away from him on the street, and Tracy picks him up and takes him in and takes him and feeds him. And Kid's eating throughout this whole movie. It's such a funny part of the movie. Kid just eats so much because he's never really eat. But Tracy chases Kid down and ends up finding him in this little hovel where his caretaker is like beating up on him, and that's the guy that looks like Marv from SimCity. He's got that. And prosthetics. This movie latex budget must have been millions of dollars because there's so much prosthetics on all the gangsters.
And it looked great. I mean,
William Forsythe's got this flat top head, like triangle head.
So much fun. Yeah. Hoffman.
Oh yeah, Dustin Hoffman. That's right.
Hoffman's
He's in this as Mumbles. Oh, a small role, really, for Dustin Hoffman.
One of the better scenes in this movie. Oh my God. One of the most memorable.
Yeah, Hoffman's great in this. God. He's great in everything.
Yeah.
It's a small role for him, though, ultimately. So Dick Tracy's main thing to do is trying to take down Big Boy. And he discovers that Kid is a witness to this, and he needs Kid, basically, to help him in this. And he leaves Kid with Tess Trueheart and goes off to this warehouse where Kid had witnessed this murder ultimately. He doesn't know this at this point. He doesn't know Kid's seen all this. But the basic premise of the movie is Dick Tracy chasing after Big. It's the Untouchables. I mean, it's basically the uncorruptible detective going after the Al Capone character. Because Big Boy's the Al Capone character. So Tracy's investigating and trying to figure out, and he finds walnuts at the scene of this, like where they killed Paul Sorvino's character, the main mob boss, and that's Big Boy's trademark. He eats walnuts. Yeah. And there's a speech later in the movie where he's like, "Walnuts, great for you. Eat them all the time." And this is Pacino in his wildness. How Pacino gets.
He was a goofball in this one, and it was great. I loved it.
But Pacino essentially killed off. Chili. That's a weird thing. Like Dick Tracy's always eating chili, like from a can in his office. And I don't even know if we see him eat it. He's always stirring a can of chili. Yeah. It's very odd. But Dick Tracy brings in Flat Top and Itchy, played by Edo Ross, to say, hey, I know you did this, and you tell me who put you up to it. And Forsythe's just. He looks ridiculous in this. Flat Top looks ridiculous.
So good. I was talking about all the action figures.
Yeah, they had a lot of them.
They did pretty good on the marketing.
Seymour Cassell also.
Yeah, Cassell. Yeah. I mean, I had Dick Tracy. I think I had Big Boy.
I had Big Boy. I still have Big Boy. And there's Mumbles.
Oh, who else did I have? Prune Face.
I
had him. Yeah. I mean, the marketing, they were oversized characters. They were kind of like He-Man.
Yeah, they had that bulky look.
They really tried to market this movie. And, I don't remember anybody really liking it all that much back then.
I think it was well received, but
like none of the kids were playing with these toys.
No, they're not popular.
Because we were young when this came out. I mean, 10 years old.
Madonna plays Breathless Mahoney. She's a singer at the bar that Paul Sorvino owned, but that's why Pacino took him out, is to take over his bar, basically his club. It's a gambling club. Gambling's against the law, though. And he's taking it over. And then we also get Mandy Patinkin as 88 Keys. He's the piano player in the bar. He plays a pretty significant role in this.
Yeah. Some of these smaller actors.
Yeah,
in this
just
too.
small roles in this, but yeah, the movie's basically about Dick Tracy trying to take down Big Boy and trying to figure out how to take him down, and Big Boy's kind of a step ahead of him for the most of the movie.
Oh yeah,
he can't really take him down, and it's just about him trying to, and he's kind of working. The problem with Tracy is he doesn't go for warrants. He does everything kind of like just spur of the moment, and that's caused problems in taking down Big Boy. You just can't take him down. And so on the scene pops up a character called the Blank. Well, we get the interview scene with Mumbles here, which is hilarious. So they got a bright light on
within the first 10 minutes of this movie. Oh, and Kathy Bates.
Oh, Kathy Bates in a very small role. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, jumping all around.
Within the first 10 minutes, Dustin Hoffman's interrogation scene is probably one of the most memorable.
The water.
Yeah, in this movie. So
it comes back later.
You gotta check it out. Yeah.
It comes back later.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't want to give up too much.
Yeah, I mean,
it is 30 years old.
It is. It's 33 years old.
Yeah.
So, Dick Tracy throughout the whole film is trying to take down Big Boy, and all of a sudden Tracy gets, and there's a lot that goes on, but I'm just going to hit the highlights, essentially.
Yeah.
But Tracy, they end up trying to buy off Tracy, and it doesn't work, and they end up through the Blank and Keys framing Dick Tracy for the murder of who do they frame him for the murder of? I can't remember exactly because it's been a couple weeks since we watched this movie.
Yeah, political figure.
They frame him for the murder of the DA. The DA, who is played by I can't remember. I haven't seen him on screen yet, otherwise I'd remember who he is. But the DA is played by a famous actor as well. But the DA's in with Big Boy and all that. So, but they frame Tracy for the murder of the DA. So Tracy's kind of on the run at that point, trying to clear his name and take down Big Boy at the same time. And it's just a good movie. It's a lot of fun. It's silly at times, but and then you got all the makeup and everything, all the ridiculous looking characters, including Dustin Hoffman here.
Yeah. I mean, you're engaged.
Yeah,
this whole movie.
Kid, of course, is helping with everything. Tracy keeps trying to keep him at home and give him off to like the orphanage and stuff like that. But the kid keeps avoiding the orphanage and following Tracy around, riding on the back of cars and things like that. And he keeps telling him not to do it, but he keeps doing it and ends up saving Tracy at one point where Tracy's tied to like a chair in a boiler room where they're going to blow it up because Tracy wouldn't take a bribe. But yeah, they frame Tracy, but it's not Big Boy that frames Tracy. It's the Blank that frames Tracy.
Right.
And Keys helps with that because Keys is being manipulated by the Blank. Mm-hmm. We're going to find out later that the Blank is a major character in this movie that we see, but we don't realize. The Blank doesn't have a face. It's like just skin only on the face. But Tracy throughout this movie he's not doing a very good job ultimately. No. There's that really stupid scene where they end up capturing Bug Bailey, they bug the club, and Tracy's just busting everything Big Boy's doing because they bug this club and they hear Big Boy talking about we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And Bug Bailey's like up in the attic above there listening, and he spills some water or coffee and it drips down, and Big Boy figures out there's a bug in his office, and he takes Bug Bailey and is going to put him in concrete like he did with Paul Sorvino at the first of the movie. And they hear somebody come in and they think it's Tracy, and he leaves his coat and they shoot up his coat, and then they turn around, and for some reason, Bug Bailey was under the concrete getting covered in concrete. Tracy decides to get in the concrete for this. He didn't have to do that. It was the goofiest thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't understand.
When we were watching, we were like, what was the point of that?
Why?
Yeah. And
why?
How did he get there?
Why was he doing that? It doesn't make any sense. But okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But in any case, the Blank.
That's about the only thing in this movie. Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's more if we go back and watch. But the one thing that we're like, what?
Yeah. It was why? This scene. This movie, I'm pretty sure, is rated PG-13, and Madonna is wearing a completely see-through dress.
Oh yeah.
You can see her tits completely.
Yeah. Now that's
a titty.
There it is.
That's a double titty. And it ain't hard to look at.
No.
But it's this is prime Madonna. 1990 Madonna. This is prime Madonna right there. So we do find out ultimately that Madonna is the blank. She's trying to take down. She's trying to take over the criminal enterprise, essentially using Dick Tracy to take over their enterprise. Even though she's in love with Dick Tracy,
she can't stand Big Boy.
Yeah, she can't stand him. She wants to take him down, and she's using Keys on top of that. She likes Keys. I mean, she's like, oh, he's the best piano player in town, because Big Boy almost breaks his fingers at some point.
Yeah.
But Keys is kind of like her pawn. He uses him to help the framing of Tracy. But the weird thing is, she's in love with Tracy. There's even one scene where she kisses him. He doesn't really kiss back, and Tess discovers it, and it kind of breaks them up as well.
There's a little love triangle there.
A pretty poor job of doing the plot description on this. It's hard because this is kind of a complicated movie, honestly. There's a lot going on in this movie.
There is.
But
it kind of jumps around
quite
a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's comic.
I think that's kind of, one of its flaws. But.
Yeah, it's certainly a flaw of it. But yeah, so Tracy, ultimately, they end up in a clock tower. They take down everybody. They have this big shootout. It's like reminiscent of, funny enough, Bonnie and Clyde on that big shootout, which is one of Warren Beatty's best movies. That's a great movie, him and Faye Dunaway. Mm-hmm. But they have this big shootout where they take out pretty much all of Big Boy's men. Big Boy escapes. They end up in a clock tower, which... of all places, a clock tower. I don't know.
But here we go with the Batman reference.
Oh, yeah. You got the blank there. You got Dick Tracy there. You got Tess Trueheart, who's chained to one of the gears of the clock tower. And if Tracy doesn't save her in time, she's going to get crushed. And Big Boy, of course. And ultimately, that's where you discover Madonna's the blank. She gets shot by Big Boy, I believe. Shoots her. And Tracy ultimately knocks... It's Star Wars. Knocks Big Boy over the edge.
Yep, exactly.
And he falls like the Emperor, who survived that, by the way. But
did he though?
That's the end. Tracy does ultimately take down Big Boy and his whole crew, but Breathless Mahoney does die because she's the blank. She ends up dying, and she's like, I was just doing this because I wanted to take it over, but I love you. Basically, is what she's saying. But Dick Tracy's only got eyes for
kind of a weak.
It's a weak ending, but the movie's so much fun, doesn't really matter at that point.
It's a comic strip brought to life.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. Yeah. It's colorful.
It's so colorful.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really bored.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Throughout. I mean, it has some lulls like any movie, but it brings you right back in it.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke. That's right. Dick Van Dyke plays the DA.
The DA.
And Charles Durning plays the police chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles Durning. There's so much. It's like, I forgot Dick Van Dyke. How did I forget
all these
Dick
actors,
Van Dyke?
all these actors just pop up in this movie.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Dick Van Dyke. Oh, Kathy Bates.
Yeah. You were like, is that Kathy Bates? I was like, no, it can't be. And I was like, it is Kathy Bates. Holy shit. Yeah. So the end of the movie, Dick Tracy has done what he's done, and him and Tess are going to, live a happy life together, supposedly. And then the kid gives himself a name, Dick Tracy Jr., so clearly they're going to adopt kid at that point. Played by Charlie Korsmo, who you'll recognize from Hook and Can't Hardly Wait. So yeah, that's the movie. That was a terrible plot description because this movie's hard to kind of describe.
Well, I mean, we jumped around kind of like the movie does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's all over the place. Yeah. And that's probably, like you said, one of its weaker points is it's not like...
Detective catch mobster.
Yeah.
Gets framed. Has a group behind him to get away.
Yeah.
Catches bad guy. All's happy.
Yeah, well, that was a funny scene that's on the screen right now where Flat Top and Itchy are right across the street from Dick Tracy. He just doesn't see him.
Yeah.
All he had to do is look across the street. He'd see him right there.
In a bright car.
Yeah, a bright red car. Yeah. Everything's bright.
Yeah. Worst if you're trying to detect and be like in the shadows.
Yeah.
Worst suit to wear.
Yeah. No.
Bright yellow.
Yeah. Awful.
Because there's a scene where he's trying to sneak in on somebody in the shadows, and he's wearing this. He's just wearing a bright yellow. Outfit. So, but oh my God, it's so much fun. I love this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about the design of this movie, which we kind of already have. The matte paintings, the costumes, everything like that, just amazing.
Yeah, the matte paintings integrated with everything else just looks so great. And they got to do this in black and white.
Yeah,
I would love to see this in black and white.
We're doing it, black and white.
Yeah.
Copyright strike to the channel.
I mean, come on. Bring the Dick Tracy, who directed this?
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty. Yeah. Bring it back, man. Go black and white.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It would be pretty cool to see this in black and white. It's like Logan. We want to see it in black and white.
Yeah.
All right. So there's one more thing we have to discuss in this movie.
Also,
go ahead.
So you see a lot of the, you got the, I don't know what they call it, but you got like somebody in the foreground, and then you have guys walking in, like in Dick Tracy's office.
Yeah.
And he's like making the chili scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep comparing this to Sin City. It's like they took a lot of their keys from Dick Tracy, it feels like.
Yeah,
There's a lot of the same.
The comic book for Sin City is very similar to the movie.
It's very similar to this.
Well, they're both comic based, so it makes sense. It's like that
when did Sin City come out?
His 90s,
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's 90s.
Tracy
That's
came
Frank
back.
Miller. So.
Tracy came out in whatever.
1990, yeah.
Well, the comic strip
comic strips are like the 30s or 40s or something.
A while
like
back.
That. It's crazy.
But yeah, you get a lot. It's very, very much the same. The way it's shot.
Yeah. No, there has some definite similarities. Oh, April 1991 was the first issue of Sin City. Okay. So about a year after this movie came out.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
I think they took a lot of cues from Tracy.
You never know. They may have Frank Miller as a genius, though.
Yeah.
That guy's great. So, the one thing we have to discuss is the music in this movie, because this is a Danny Elfman soundtrack.
Throughout, we were
commenting. Could not stop, because this soundtrack and the Batman soundtrack is like somebody copied homework on this, because there are exact musical cues in this soundtrack, and this is probably where Danny Elfman gets the reputation that he only has one sound. Essentially, he can't do anything else, and he's proved it wrong. Of course, the guy's a very talented musician. So there are literally songs in this movie where they just added notes to the Batman soundtrack. It is almost identical to my ears.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
It's the same.
Line it up with
so
Batman
much the same.
89. It's close until the middle.
Yeah.
And then it evens back out, and then at the end it kind of separates. But
and I think that makes sense.
It's the same. It is the same sound overall.
I do think it makes sense, because honestly, when Tim Burton made Batman 89, the feel of Batman 89, like the time period he was kind of going for, it was supposed to be like current day or like 80s.
Yeah.
But it felt like 1940s.
Right.
In Batman 89. It very much felt like that. That soundtrack very much felt like that. So the soundtrack being very similar, if not almost the same, in this movie makes sense, because the feel of Batman 89 and this movie also feel very much alike. They have a very similar feel to them, and like costumes and things like that. Think of the costumes in Batman 89 of like the Joker's men, like the jackets and the hats and all that.
Mobster gear.
It's wild. They're very similar. Beatty had to have used that to an extent in this movie. I mean, he was using the comic strip, but Beatty definitely had that feeling. And you got to think that Beatty went to Danny Elfman. I assume he did. He chose the musician for this movie.
He's like, give me Batman 1990.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's very similar themes. I mean, he's almost a vigilante in this movie to an extent as well. So, it's very similar themes.
Yeah,
so
he becomes it at the end.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely does. So, yeah. So, that's anything else to say about Dick Tracy before we move on?
Oh, my God. Just get some dick in your life.
Did you ever see that?
Dick Tracy.
Did you ever seen that comic strip, like back in the when Iron Man and Captain America came out originally? There was a saying like "solid dick" was like a thing that somebody would say, like, you need to get like some perspective, and there's this thing like where Captain America's like, hey, oh, metalhead, I think you need a little solid dick in your life, or something like that.
No.
It's great.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some solid Dick Tracy in your life.
Yeah, and watch Dick
this
Tracy.
movie's 33 years old.
Watch Dick Tracy.
If you haven't seen it,
fun.
if you haven't seen it, watch it. If you've seen it, watch it again. It's so fun.
Let's
And
rate Dick Tracy.
when I brought it to our Friday night movie review, you were pretty happy about it.
Oh, I was glad to see it. I hadn't seen it in years.
God! Yeah, I haven't seen it in years. I was a big fan of this as a kid. You know, when it came out, I was like 10 years old. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
Had the action
Absolutely
figures,
fantastic.
the card. I had the card. They had cards out and all that. So
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
All right, so rating. What do you got?
Oh man. Whew. I love this, so I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
Out of 10?
Out of 10. Are we going out of 5?
I'm out of 5.
We normally go out of 5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you're a 4.
I'm gonna go 4.
That's me as well. I'm
Yeah.
a 4. This is a great movie. It's really fun. It has its problems. It's a little goofy. It's a little silly. It can get real silly, to be honest. But and it has some pacing problems overall. It's not the best paced movie.
Yeah.
Some of the cuts are like, why are we cutting away from some of this? You know, but it's fine.
The makeup, the guy,
James Caan.
Caan is in this.
James Caan.
James Caan.
Not
yeah.
for long.
Here
Very
we go.
small role
Yeah.
for James Caan.
Just throughout this movie, just throwing in these big time actors in small roles throughout.
Yeah, it's
Love
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that is Dick Tracy. We're going to move on to our next movie review here shortly. But if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. You can find us at Basement Movie Room youtube.com/@basementmovieroom, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Basement Movie Room. So check us out. Follow us if you want to get these reviews about once a week. Sometimes we skip a week. It depends. We're busy people. So, all right.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Get some dick in your life.
That's right. That's definitely going in.